So before age 3, the services that children will receive are through the Early Start program, which is regulated by Part C of the federal IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, which is the same law that governs special ed once children turn 3. It's a different section of the same law that regulates special education. After age 3, children will only retain eligibility if they have a diagnosed developmental disability that constitutes a substantial disability. And substantial disability, so there's 5 main areas where diagnoses for regional center eligibility. The first is intellectual disability, second is cerebral palsy, third is epilepsy. The fourth is autism spectrum disorder. Well, autism is how it's labeled. And then the fifth category is something, it's usually people just call it fifth category. It's conditions that are closely related to intellectual disability or require treatment that's similar to what you'd provide for a person with intellectual disability, and is not completely physical or medical in nature. So sometimes you'll have a child whose numbers are not quite where it needs to be to qualify under ID, but maybe they have lower adaptive scores, and that kind of results in functionally the same condition. They'll usually qualify under the fifth category. And a substantial disability means that they have significant delays in at least 3 areas among self-care, receptive and expressive language, learning, mobility, and self-direction. And then when they're older, they'll also look at capacity for independent living and economic self-sufficiency. And sometimes kids will turn 3, but either they don't have a diagnosis yet, even though they have a bunch of delays, or they have a diagnosis, but they're only delayed in maybe 2 of the 3 areas. And you might start to see that gap between them, and they're typically developing peers grow as they get a little bit older, but at 3, it may be a little bit too soon. For those children, there's provisional eligibility, which means that the child can get basically nearly all of the same services that a child would get under the Lanterman Act, but they will be reevaluated right before their 5th birthday to see if they continue to qualify outside of provisional eligibility.